Hey out there, legal warriors. In this video, I'm going to cover a very little known crime in Washington State. Yes, this crime might apply to you. It's called failure to transfer title within 45 days. And if you're a little slow, if you don't know about this law, if you don't get something done on time, you can end up charged with a misdemeanor crime, 90 days in jail, $1,000 fine maximum, and a criminal record. If you want to avoid this or you're interested in this area of the law, stay tuned. This is the video for you. My name is Attorney Lance Fryrear. I'm a defense attorney in Lynnwood, Washington. My law firm's been defending people charged with crimes all throughout Washington State for more than 20 years, and I'm putting out these videos to help educate the public. So if you find this useful, please like and please subscribe. More people get to see it. More people get the help they need. Now, it really surprised me when I got a phone call here recently about this particular charge that I didn't have a video on this charge. It's called failure to transfer title within 45 days. Now, as some of you may know, I was a prosecutor for the first 7 years of my career, so this was an actual charge I saw quite often when I was a prosecutor for the city of Lynnwood. And I just probably wasn't such a serious charge I ever put out a video, but thanks to a phone call, I'm going to now explain to you all what this law says, what some exceptions are, and what you need to do to avoid getting charged with this crime by a law enforcement officer, because they're still charging it even today. So you're going to see me look down for a second, because this one I'm going to read on this big screen I have in front of me now. Thank you, Devin, for helping me out. Devin's behind the scenes here on the channel. But it's RCW 46.12.650. And it's not really, it doesn't really say failure to transfer title, but that's what we call it when we write it down on a ticket. That's one of the different prongs that can be violated in this statute. And one of those prongs can end up being criminal. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at it right now. It talks about, in subsection 6 of this law, it talks about transferring ownership. It says a person who has recently acquired a vehicle, and all these different types of ways, by purchase, by exchange, by gift even, lease, inheritance, someone we might not think of, or legal action, shall apply to the department, that's the Department of Licensing people, county auditor or other agent, for a new certificate of title within 15 days of delivery of the vehicle. That's acquiring the vehicle. And basically, if you don't do it within 15 days, then when you go ahead and apply to get that new title in your name, what's title? Title is like proof of who owns this vehicle out there in the world. If you don't do it within 15 days, then they're going to charge you an additional fee, right? It's going to cost you a little more money when you walk in and say, hey, I got this car 3 weeks ago. I haven't got around to getting the title. Here's the proof of sale. Here's everything we need. Here's the bill of sale. And you might have to pay some sales tax on other things that might have to happen on this. But if you don't apply within 15 days, they just give you a monetary penalty. However, if I read a little bit further, if I go down to subsection 8, where it talks about the penalty for a late transfer, it says it's a misdemeanor, that's a crime, 90 days in jail, $1,000 fine maximum, to fail or neglect to apply for a transfer of ownership within 45 days after delivery of the vehicle. So if it's more than 45 days, it's a crime if you haven't transferred the vehicle. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean if you walk into the Department of Licensing on day 100 or day 46 or day 4,000 after you've had the vehicle, are they going to call the police? I've never seen that happen. I don't think they're calling the police. You still need to go in and transfer the title. So what do we have to worry about then, Lance? Well, what happens is you're out there driving around in some vehicle that you've had for a long time, but you haven't got around to transferring the title. Maybe you haven't had the money because of the fees you might have to pay, the licensing fees, sales tax, stuff like that. Or you've just been busy. You're driving around, the officer pulls you over for speeding, or your headlights aren't on, or running a red light, or whatever reason. They say, title, registration, and insurance, please. And then you get out your registration. Well, maybe you don't have that. You haven't transferred it. Whatever you get out, it's not in your name if you have anything. And if you don't have anything, what are they going to do? They're going to run the plate, and they're going to see who it comes back to. Now, let's say you're Mr. Smith, but the plate comes back to Mrs. Jones, right? They're going to say, hey, Mr. Smith, how long have you had this vehicle? Oh, I've had it about 6 months. Oh, really? You've had it 6 months. Well, why haven't you transferred the title? Now, what's going to happen then? Well, many times an officer might just give you a warning, right? They might say, hey, get it done. I don't want to write this up. It's maybe you didn't know about it. Go get it fixed. But sometimes they don't write you that warning. Sometimes they actually write out the crime. Here's your crime. Go to court. Okay? And it's not where you can just pay a traffic ticket. You actually have to go to court. And you have to plead not guilty. You have all these court dates like you would a DUI or an assault or any other type of thing. And it's a real big pain. So don't be afraid to go get this thing done, even if you've delayed it, because the Department of Licensing is not calling the police on you. But while you want to get it done, if you get pulled over, an officer very well may cite you with the crime. They might even tow the car, saying it's not properly transferred. There's all types of stuff they can do. So what are some exceptions? And to be quite honest, I've never seen these exceptions before I reviewed this law, because it must have never come up when I was a prosecutor. No defense attorney ever brought it up. But it says there's some penalty exceptions where we can be excused for filing late in certain situations. It says, hey, if the department's requested additional documentation to acquire this title transfer, well, that's not on you, right? If it says that there's delay by the government in getting something done, maybe you showed up and you turned it in and they didn't get it done in time, maybe during COVID times when things weren't running right, that can be a defense. It says that you could claim, it says if the owner is prevented from applying due to illness or extended hospitalization. Man, that's one we might be able to run a truck through. I was ill, right? It doesn't really say who needs to prove it or not. We're probably going to have to show it. But that could be an excuse. And there's several other excuses under subsection 9 that you might want to take a look at if you get charged with this crime. So what's the long and short of it? Is this a very serious crime in court? And I would say no. It's not a very serious crime in court where the prosecutor doesn't, they're usually not all hot and bothered. I'm putting you in jail because you didn't transfer this. However, any criminal mark on someone's record can be very damaging to their future. Certain types of professions are very sensitive when it comes to criminal records, things in the medical field, situations involving one-on-one trust with someone, right? It can be a problem. Security clearances even. There can be some black and white fails in a background check, even for something like this, although those, I think, will be the exception and not the rule. How do we defend it? Well, the most important thing we need to do in defending it is delay the case long enough for the person who didn't transfer the title to get it all fixed up, get it transferred, right? We can waive your first court date, usually an arraignment. In most courts, we can do that. We can continue the case multiple times while we have time for you to get it sorted out and then come back with a beautiful title in your name, and now there's nothing left for the prosecutor to see. Many times we can get a prosecutor to dismiss that case, hopefully. If not, maybe they can reduce it to some type of expired tabs traffic infraction, which is just not renewing your tabs, and that's not even a moving violation. That's not going to affect your criminal record. It's not going to affect your insurance usually. Those are the ways we want to go for things. But most prosecutors aren't going to give you any slack until we've got the problem fixed. So that's what we need to do. If you acquire a vehicle in Washington State, you need to make sure that title is transferred. If you're doing it through a dealer, right, that's probably going to be done, all that papers, a lot of that's going to be done by them and submitted, right, when you go through it. But so many people buy stuff, off of Facebook Marketplace, Meta Marketplace, or Craigslist, or it looks you're even given a vehicle by your mom or your dad, right? And if we get pulled over, we don't want to volunteer how long we've had the vehicle. If we don't have to. I will say, I don't know if it still exists, but back when I was a prosecutor, there was a little, in my mind, secret law enforcement system out there where they would actually log every time they saw an out-of-state vehicle, right? Because there's a different type of crime out there about not getting a Washington State vehicle license, because for a long time, Washington State, so expensive for the vehicle license compared to other states like Oregon. And so you only have so long to get that done. And so there would be these logs where the officers would type in somewhere every time they saw, this Oregon plate, right? And, I can tell how long you've been here. Now, I don't know that exists for this type of charge. It's never something I run across. but realize that the government more and more has ways to track us, right? So let's just get the right stuff done. So I hope you found this useful. If so, please like and please subscribe. More people get to see it. More people get the help they need and avoid this problem. More importantly, if you have a criminal matter in Washington State, feel free to reach out to my firm. We get on board, we'll listen to what happened, we'll identify a way forward, and we will be there for you. Thank you.